The ancient emperor immediately jumped to his feet, as thick streams of true demonic energy flooded into his palms. His hands continuously changed gestures, and various demonic seals appeared one after another before being slammed hard onto the ground. In the sky all around, demonic runes fluttered and sparkled like a swarm of butterflies in the wind, creating a magnificent sight that was dazzling to behold. Before long, the giant circle of energy centered around the ancient emperor began to gather from all directions. Demonic energy spread out from it. However, its aura was so weak it seemed to be panting. While setting up the formation, the ancient emperor slowly explained, "My demonic energy barrier and the clone's demonic runes are fundamentally of the same type. What I need to do is use the barrier's own power to counter the runes, but my strength is slightly lacking. I need you all to channel your essence power into it. Only then can it succeed." Lai Van Teru half believed, half doubted, saying, "Our essence power and your demonic essence power seem to clash." The ancient emperor calmly replied, "They do clash, but I need precisely the conflict for the demonic barrier to become chaotic and then explode. Breaking a hole through the demonic runes won't be difficult at that point." H led 1E9 a DI led 1EC5M nodded and said, "I see, so that means the more chaotic the power we channel into it, the better." The ancient emperor nodded, "Precisely my intention. Your essence power counts as one type, and adding the dark blood power also counts as part of it. Leave the matter of using blood power to me." The powerful voice resonated, and then the silhouette of the blood godson gradually emerged. His eyes, however, immediately fixed upon Lai Van Teru, and he said in a cold, detached voice, "I have one condition, this person must be handed over to me." And letter 1EA1CTI letter 1EC3 use iron and Harchlayan THI letter 1EBFU Hang immediately changed color, simultaneously standing up cautiously, as they knew how formidable the blood godson was from having previously fought him. H letter 1E9 a DI letter 1EC5M frowned, saying with some annoyance, "Blood godson, leave your personal grievances with him until after we get through this ordeal. What kind of time is this to be causing trouble?" The blood godson replied coolly, "My apologies, Lord H letter 1E9 a DI letter 1EC5M. This time, I absolutely must deal with him definitively. This person is incredibly skilled at escaping. If he gets out, I might not be able to catch him again." H letter 1E9 and DI letter 1EC5M was furious, not expecting the blood godson to be so stubborn. He shouted, "Lord blood godson, you truly show me no respect at all." The blood godson's expression changed slightly, his eyes flickering as he calculated. If he offended the holy sanctuary, catching Lai Van Teru might not necessarily be beneficial, unless he could refine the blood beast and supreme grade mystical artifact. He thought for a moment and said, "If Lord H letter 1E9 a DI letter 1EC5M has said so, then I won't be foolish enough to argue. Very well, let's settle our private account after we finish things here." The blood godson's sudden generosity slightly stunned Lai Van Teru, as he knew the secret of the blood beast was enough to drive people insane, and the other party definitely wouldn't give up easily. The blood godson glanced at him coldly and began pouring blood kai into the ancient emperor's demonic energy barrier. The others also took action one after another. H letter 1E9 a DI letter 1EC5M even encouraged everyone to try their best, united in effort to overcome this obstacle, stating that as long as they escaped this disaster, anyone could go to the holy sanctuary to receive rewards. The ancient emperor maintained a calm and solemn expression, continuously casting hand seals to guide the sources of power operating throughout the barrier, where demonic power, dark blood, and essence kai were intertwined. The three streams of three-colored power swirled within the barrier, forcing it to gradually expand as if it were about to give birth to a new demonic essence. Those three sources of power slowly fused together and then converged toward the center. After absorbing the enormous amount of energy, the formation finally lived up to everyone's expectations, suddenly shooting out a spatial column straight up into the sky. Simultaneously, it tore a large hole through the demonic runes, and the light from outside shone in, bringing Lanhel hope to everyone. Suddenly, the blood godson's body trembled, a fierce glint flashed in his eyes, and the aura around him immediately changed. The sea of blood suddenly opened up, swallowing Lai Van Teru, who was caught off guard, in the blink of an eye. The blood godson laughed loudly, saying, "I finally got you. I'll be leaving now." This turn of events shocked everyone. H letter 1E9 a DI letter 1EC5M angrily shouted, "Blood godson, you truly broke your promise." The blood godson laughed coldly as he turned into a blood light and fled, cackling as he said, "I didn't break my promise. The barrier has been breached. Now that the common task is done, I'll go attend to my private business. Lord H letter 1E9 a DI letter 1EC5M and everyone else, please excuse me." The blood godson rushed towards the gap of light, but his expression immediately changed. He discovered an invisible force blocking his path. He immediately looked up and stared intently at the ancient emperor, who maintained a calm demeanor as if nothing had happened. Only the aura around him gradually changed, completely lacking the depleted appearance he had before. A sharp glint flashed in his eyes, his vital energy full, as he coldly said, "You piece of trash, I was originally about to fully recover, yet you dared to disrupt the energy current at this moment. You truly are courting disaster." The ancient emperor softly said, "Within this barrier, it's like my own world. All sources of power here ultimately have only one outcome, to be extinguished. The sudden turn of events caused not only the blood godson but also H1E9 and DI1EC5M to stand frozen like wooden statues. The blood godson's betrayal halfway through had already left them helpless. Who would have thought the ancient emperor was even more cunning, having set up a trap to deceive the entire group from the very beginning. H1E9 and DI1EC5M was so furious he trembled, angrily saying, "You actually used our strength to recover yourself. You truly are a bunch of people who lack faith." "Though, I don't keep faith." The corner of the ancient emperor's mouth curved up into a faint smile. He said, "It's just that you misunderstood. Those demonic runes were indeed torn open by my barrier, and the light you saw truly isn't an illusion. It's the sunlight shining in from outside. It's just that." He let out a sly cackle and continued, "It's just that I never said you all could get out too. Excuse me, this passage has limited capacity, so I'll go ahead first." With that, he walked straight into the ray of light, intending to sneak away from everyone's sight. But just as the ancient emperor lifted his foot to step into that region of light, the clanking sound of chains suddenly echoed from above, as if falling from the sky. Countless chains swung in the air, creating layers of afterimages, then wrapped around the old lord, stopping only after wrapping dozens of times in the blink of an eye. A person slowly appeared from above, working towards him. There was Xingyuan, whose face showed no expression. The old lord looked at him in confusion and said coldly, "Descendant of the demon servant, what is the meaning of this?" He frowned slightly, as if suddenly remembering something, and said, "Is that divine avatar making you intend to rely on him?" Xingyuan shook his head and chuckled softly, saying, "No, I myself. I have never intended to depend on anyone from the start." His expression gradually distorted as he said in an icy voice, "I yearn to find the demon lord and release him, not out of loyalty, but merely to seize his true demonic source power and refine that body." "What did you say?" The old lord immediately flew into a rage. Xingyuan's idea enraged him to the extreme. "Dear Art, you're just a descendant of a demon servant, yet you dare to rebel against me." Xingyuan spat contemptuously and said, "Demon servant? That's just an old legend. I only practiced demonic cultivation. For all these years, from my master to my grandmaster and great-grandmaster, everyone wanted to refine you. Do you think you're immoral or something, big brother? Times have changed. The heavenly martial realm today is no longer the heavenly martial realm of yesteryear." His face revealed a ferocious look as he laughed coldly. "A demon like you is just a laughable failure in the eyes of us humans, yet you call yourself the demon lord. Where does the confidence come from? Once I refine you, I will possess the supreme true demonic body and even be able to cultivate your true demonic Dharma image." Hearing this familiar term, Liang Xiao thought to himself, the true demonic Dharma image, isn't that precisely what was recorded on that metal fragment? The old lord's anger gradually subsided, and his eyes flashed with cold light. He said coldly, "You think you can capture me on your own?" Xingyuan replied nonchalantly, "Actually, I'm not entirely sure, but if I miss this opportunity, I'm afraid there won't be a next time. Therefore, between you and that person in the sky, I choose you." He added with a cold smile, "Moreover, I have already prepared a special gift for you." The chains stretched across the high sky rattled continuously, wrapping tightly around the old lord and preventing the demonic energy in his body from circulating. The old lord's body suddenly constricted, and he said in surprise, "I felt something wasn't right from the start. These chains can actually seal demonic source power." Xingyuan let out a sigh of relief, excitement clearly visible on his face. He said, "It truly works, Lord Demon Lord." These chains were researched and crafted by dozens of experts, collecting exotic treasures from around the world and representing the hard work of generations. It was finally perfected by my grandmaster. It is no different from an ordinary profound artifact, perhaps even inferior, but its great strength lies in its ability to seal the demonic source. Xingyuan sighed emotionally, "It's a pity that my grandmaster wasn't as lucky as I am. He turned to dust before you could emerge. Only I, Kai Shinfeng, am the one chosen by destiny, the one who will obtain the true demonic body and become the new demon lord." Liang Xiao's heart stirred slightly. The name Kai Shinfeng sounded familiar, but for a moment, he couldn't recall where he had heard it before. The old lord allowed the chains to wrap tightly around his body, showing only a trace of anger but no panic, which greatly surprised Xingyuan. Xingyuan laughed probingly and said, "Lord Demon Lord, do you have any last words before you die?" The old lord saw through his intention and replied coldly, "You don't need to probe me. If I hadn't coincidentally encountered this opportunity today, I might not have necessarily been refined by you. I can convert external power into demonic energy and absorb it, but it cannot truly transform into the true demonic source. As for the converted force, I also have a way to reverse it." As he spoke, two continuously revolving streams of red and white appeared in the old lord's palm. The two streams of power resembled miniature galaxies. They were the blood fiend force he had absorbed earlier. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he said, "Are you prepared to meet your end?" Immediately after, the two streams of power exploded from the old lord's body, causing the sealing chains to shake violently. Xingyuan's expression changed, as he hadn't anticipated this situation. The demonic energy within the old lord's body had completely reversed, making the primal lock barely able to withstand it. "If the primal lock can't suppress you, try my boundary god monument." Liang Xiao's voice suddenly rang out from high in the sky. The boundary god monument instantly transformed into a gigantic mountain. Terrifying gravity spread in all directions, warping space. The gigantic mountain crashed down heavily upon the old lord's head. The old lord shouted furiously at Liu Xiao, "Don't forget that I just saved you. Are you repaying kindness with enmity like this?" Liu Xiao snorted coldly, "Do you think the blood godson could do anything to me without your help? Even though neither of you are good people, I find you much more dangerous than Xingyuan. If I just kill you, the person in the sky won't be able to restore his complete imperial body, and sooner or later, someone else will destroy him." While controlling the boundary god monument, Liu Xiao spoke up, "Lord Kai Shenfeng, let's join forces to slay the demon lord." Xingyuan's body trembled as he said coldly, "You recognize me?" Liu Xiao chuckled lightly, "I just remembered. Your great name truly resounds like thunder in my ears." At that very moment, the gigantic fireball shot from the horizon, rushing straight towards and colliding forcefully with the boundary god monument. That figure not only transformed into a fiend but also burned brightly all over. With her at the center, the sky was filled with flying sparks. The strike directly knocked away the primal lock chains in the boundary god monument. She urgently cried out, "Master, leave here quickly." "Pure Yin!" Liu Xiao suddenly exclaimed in surprise. The girl burning herself was Hua Yin, a 4-star martial emperor burning her soul to unleash power. Her strength at this moment was fiercely difficult to withstand. A complex look appeared in his eyes, and he sighed softly, "Alas, this must be heaven's will. Let's retreat." At this moment, the old lord was unusually weak. His face flickered in the firelight, alternating between bright and dark. He stood silent for a long time before asking, "Why are you burning even your soul?" Pure Yin was momentarily stunned, unexpected that he would ask such a question. She replied, "Once I joined the demonic path, didn't my soul also belong to the master?" She continued, "If I didn't do this, Pure Yin wouldn't have enough power to save the master." H1ECFM urgently said, "Master, leave quickly, the passage is about to close." The shadow of the old lord stretched long and drawn out under the firelight, extending deep into the endless dark demon cloud. He slowly turned, ignoring H1ECFM's words, and advanced step by step towards the light circle in front of him. The old lord suddenly turned his head to look back one last time. Afterward, his figure dissolved into the light circle, leaving only a faint remark echoing out. "Throughout countless years, you have been the best demon servant." As the old lord departed, the light circle gradually vanished, and the entire land plunged back into pitch-black darkness. H1ECFM's body continued to burn. This figure gradually faded and finally extinguished completely. "Tuft, I didn't expect to let him escape. Whatever, catching a body is in bed." The old lord's voice suddenly rang out from the horizon. His departure fell within the view of the other person. Capturing him again next time will be incredibly difficult. His heart suddenly trembled, and he immediately spun around. A colossal demon shadow emerged behind him, its 2 hands bracing against the attack from the ancient god battlefield. His face showed excitement as he laughed loudly. "Stupid Emperor Lord. Is this the last card you intended to use to drag me to death with you? It's a pity your power was depleted earlier. Otherwise, your level of artifact refinement might indeed have been enough to make me wary." The old lord casually threw the dying body of the Emperor Lord aside and said in a low voice, "How could something refined by a loser give me trouble? I'll just refine it myself at my convenience." The Emperor Lord's body fell straight to the ground. He was so exhausted that he no longer even had the strength to stand up. Suddenly, a beam of light tore across the sky, hurtling straight towards the Emperor Lord. The newcomer was Hanangayan. His eyes lit up with frenzied delight. The Chinese letter essence chain in his hand immediately wrapped around the Emperor Lord as tightly as a bundle. He laughed loudly. "Parhar, a complete demon vessel." After speaking, he turned and fled. H1E9ADI1EC5M looked at Lai Van Teru and asked, "Little friend, do we have any options left in this situation?" Lai Van Teru's heart was in turmoil. The only way to escape right now was to hide in the World God Monument, but should he bring these people with him? If the World God Monument were revealed to be a super-grade profound artifact, they would end up like Vane Cowhan, imprisoned until he reached the Martial Emperor peak before he would dare to release them. He calmly said, "For now, let's just assess the situation." Although the answer was expected, H1E9ADI1EC5M was still slightly disappointed. He turned to Wythandone and asked, "Lord War, do you have any insights?" Wythandone's face was also bewildered. After Hanangayan took away the Emperor Lord's remnant body, he disappeared without a trace, leaving them utterly confused. H1E9ADI1EC5M looked at everyone's dazed expressions and sighed. Who exactly is that Hanangayan person? He introduced himself as K1EF3TH1EAFNG Fon. Why does that name sound so familiar, but I can't remember it right now. Wythandone's body trembled slightly, and he gave a cold snort without saying anything further. What a nuisance. The demon lord in the sky was about to complete the refinement. He glanced over and said with a cold snort, "You think I'm helpless just because you ran away with a remnant body clone?" We added coldly, "And there's the demon essence fruit. As long as it remains within the demon cloud, I can still refine it. Everything will turn to ash." He suddenly raised his right fist and punched towards the sky. The bolt of black lightning shot from his fist into the endless night, transforming into a 1,000-meter circle that enveloped the entire sky. Everyone's expressions changed simultaneously, staring blankly at the scene, unsure of what he intended to do. The demon lord continuously cast incantations into the circle and said coldly, "You're all I'm that foolish clone. I detected you as soon as you started eyeing me. So, I deliberately divided my power into 10 parts, condensing 9 demon essence fruits and a demon cloudberry. Initially, I thought at best 1 or 2 clones might escape, but who knew it would turn out to be the best possible outcome. It's just a pity that 1 clone escaped, but it doesn't matter. As long as I refine the entire demon cloud and everything within it, the demon essence fruit and the remaining clone will also be completely devoured by me. So, no matter where you hide or where you conceal the demon essence fruit, that will be useless. Har har har. He laughed loudly as he finished speaking. The boundless demonic power gathering in the sky filled everyone's hearts with darkness. He actually intended to refine the entire demon cloud and the land itself. If that really happened, it would be no different from melting down the entire space. At that point, no one could possibly survive. Just how terrifying was the demon lord's true strength now? Everyone felt bewildered. If his strength was on par with a peak martial emperor, then even if Lai Van Teru hid inside the world god monument, he might not necessarily be able to escape. As everyone despaired and Lai Van Teru prepared to retrieve the world god monument, an elegant and serene voice suddenly echoed through the sky, slowly reciting, "A generation of green pines within 10 lie, the 5 paths still witness spiritual rebirth. A guest arrives. There is no need for a cage, for all things, since ancient times, flow like water." Who's that? The demon lord was suddenly startled, turning his head to look around everywhere, his face showing clear surprise. Lai Van Teru and H-1E9D-I-1EC5M both raised their eyebrows slightly. In that instant, they seemed to recognize the owner of the voice, their pupils widening in astonishment. H-1E9D-I-1EC5M couldn't help but laugh aloud, saying, "Parhar, so it's him. This time we have a chance to live." H-1E1D-1E5 was also bewildered, realizing that anyone who could make H-1E9D-I-1EC5M so ecstatic was surely no ordinary person. H-1E1D-1E5 couldn't resist asking, "My lord, who exactly is the person?" H-1E9D-I-1EC5 smiled brightly and replied, "Parhar, why ask so many questions? Just knowing we're saved is good enough." He joyfully added, "You did great. Reporting this to the Holy Territory definitely led them to send an expert here. When we return, I'll recommend you for a promotion." H-1E1D-1E5 was stunned and said, "But I only sent the message a short while ago. How could he possibly get here so fast?" Lai Van Teru squinted up at the void and softly muttered, "That's right. In all this world, only he would show up at exactly this moment." The source of the voice had no light, nor was the demon cloud torn apart, yet a figure slowly materialized. At this moment, however, his face was full of distress as he sighed. 9 breaths have passed. I was playing chess with Nam KH-1EA5 youth there and when Kondu and Chin K-1EF3 dragged me here, and I've been standing here contemplating for 9 full breaths. The newcomer wore gold robes trimmed in black with a gold belt around his waist. His hair was neat, and his eyes were as bright as stars in the moon, giving him an extremely handsome and refined appearance. With a nonchalant demeanor, he frowned slightly and said, "To put it simply, if I wanted to, I could have killed you 9 times just now." That line probably qualifies for today's most terrifying words list. Anyway, never mind. D-1EBFD-1EA1 stood dumbfounded, completely unable to understand what this person was babbling about. The man suddenly remembered something and said, That's right, the 16th fourth move, what a profound play. I must first make the 13th life move." Having finished speaking, his figure instantly vanished from the sky without so much as a word of greeting. D-1EBFD-1EA1's expression changed instantly. He scanned around, thinking nervously. He disappeared. It wasn't teleportation, nor hiding, or entering the void. There were absolutely no spiritual energy fluctuations. It was a genuine disappearance. How did he manage to enter this demon cloud, and how did he leave? Why did he not leave behind a single trace of aura in this domain, as if he had never existed here at all? Everyone present was left speechless, gaping like statues. Even H-1E9D-I-1EC5 didn't understand what had just happened. He almost fainted, pointing at the sky and continuously cursing, The person. H-1EA1D-1E5 said, wiping sweat from his brow, "My lord, who exactly is the person? Is he trustworthy?" H-1E9D-I-1EC5 glanced at him and muttered, "His name is Chark Than Pham. Perhaps, possibly, maybe, he might be trustworthy." The scene shifted to Theron Ti-1EC7 and high, where sheer cliffs rose high, and a waterfall plunged thousands of feet from the sky, sending up mist and foam like shattered jade. The sound of pine trees rustling in the wind blended with the roaring water, creating a magnificent natural symphony. In the hazy mist, the faint voice of an old man reciting poetry could be heard, tapping the fallen flower lantern piece. The fan is light in the breeze, sketched by the moon. Laughing as I watched the world in turmoil, I brew wine for self-indulgence and sing a song. The old man poured himself a cup of wine, drank it dry, and smiled faintly, saying, "The light of heaven and earth game situation is actually being played out in 3 different directions. I wonder what he would think if he knew." Chark Than Pham replied with a laugh, "I'd only casually played 1 round, who knew it would turn out like this. Sometime, let's bring D-1EB1 and G Kwang to your Than Ti-1EC7 and high for a fun game." The two men looked at each other and laughed, considering the chess match to have been quite rewarding. The old man suddenly asked, "To right, have you finished the task that Khan Juan Chinke letter 1 EF3 asked you to handle?" "Already." I thought that old man's urgent call must have been for something very important. Chark Than Pham suddenly froze and said, "I completely forgot about that. Your purple furnace wine truly is delicious. I'll come back next time to drink more." The drop of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He put down the wine cup and instantly vanished in front of the old man. The old man was slightly taken aback, then smiled gently and drank the remaining wine. Only the remnants of the chess game remained, with countless variations and possibilities left on the board. The scene returned to the eastern region, specifically the Buried Bones land, inside the Demon Cloud. D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1 realized from the demon monarch's memories that the person who had just appeared was Hu Khan Bu D-stroke letter 1 EBF Chark Than Pham, the second strongest expert of this generation. H letter 1 E9 a DI letter 1 EC5M glanced at Lai Van Teru with a look full of hidden meaning and said, "Then friend, you also recognize Chark Than Pham?" Lai Van Teru replied with a faint smile, "Who in the world doesn't know Hu Khan Bu D-stroke letter 1 EBF? It's just a pity that he probably doesn't know who I am." H letter 1 E9 a DI letter 1 EC5M wasn't completely satisfied with the answer. Lai Van Teru was clearly trying to evade the question. H letter 1 E9 a DI letter 1 EC5M said, "And what about the name K letter 1 EF3 TH letter 1 EAFNG Fawn? That name has been quiet for many years, even I only just remembered it. Yet you know her, and friend? That seems a bit unusual." Lai Van Teru laughed and said, "He said that name himself. I just casually repeated it. That can't be considered an acquaintance. Besides, even if I really did know him, it would only prove that I am well-read and knowledgeable." Upon hearing this, Wai Than Dong relaxed slightly, apparently reassured by the answer. H letter 1 E9 a DI letter 1 EC5M couldn't add anything else, but his curiosity about Lai Van Teru's identity grew stronger. He secretly decided that when he returned to the Holy Territory, he must investigate this young man's origins to uncover exactly what secrets he was hiding. H letter 1 EA1 D letter 1 E5 Nam swallowed hard and didn't dare speak. He knew Lai Van Teru possessed 9th level profound energy and had even gathered the demon core fruits himself. "Oh dear," Chark Than Pham suddenly appeared and let out a sigh of relief. "Fortunately, everyone is still here, and no one lost their life. Otherwise, I would feel terribly guilty." Upon seeing him, Zhu Yan immediately couldn't help but yell an accusation, angrily saying, "Dear Kingfin, can't you be a bit more reliable? When you were playing chess, weren't you afraid someone here might fall? Can your conscience truly sleep peacefully?" "Hey, Dear Kingfin chuckled twice dryly. He said seriously, "Life and death are determined by fate, and wealth comes from heaven. How can one force it? Even if I possess great power, I cannot change a person's destiny. How can Lord Zhu Yan, being a high-ranking official, not understand this principle?" Zhu Yan was left speechless, cursing his bad luck inwardly, wondering what karma he had accumulated today to meet two such thick-skinned and chainless individuals back-to-back. Lai Yingxiao's face also darkened. This old man was clearly taking a jab at him. "Heart, all said, life and death are determined by fate. In that case, your decision to come here today to die must also be your destiny, Void Martial Emperor." Juror Kingfin, cold light flashed in Dai Yi's eyes. He ground out each word. The terrifying power emanated from his body, black ore building up and condensing, tightly compressing the entire space.